Hello, and welcome to Healthy Habits, where things are seldom perfect, but I am still making progress. I am learning to replace old habits with new, healthier ones. I hope that you can find something useful or inspiring in the things that I share here, or at least leave with a smile. Hi, today I'm going to make pumpkin puree, and I'm going to use that to make pumpkin bread and a pumpkin pie. So you might say, goodness gracious, how does she have pumpkins already in July? Well, I start them indoors. I planted them the first day I could after my frost date. And I don't grow pumpkins that have to get huge. This is an average size for one type that I grow, and I also grow littler pumpkins. So I'm not waiting that big long time to get a huge pumpkin. All I care about is, does it have meat in order for me to make puree? And then I'm satisfied. So I'm not trying to grow big, huge pumpkins for Halloween. So all I do is, first is cut the top off. I'm gonna put seeds into my strainer because I'm gonna have to wash those out later. I want to save the seeds for these. I'm gonna roast. So this is the second pumpkin. I've already done one this morning. It's in the oven. Unfortunately though, I wasn't watching the timer. I had it set for the pumpkin insides and not for the seeds, and I burnt the pan up. So hopefully on the next round, these seeds will get roasted because we really do like to eat sunflower seeds. It's a great treat. You can put anything on it, any kind of seasons you like. We just put salt on them and eat them that way. So all I'm doing is getting the stringy guts out and the seeds, and anything that's not usable goes in there because it's going to go to the compost. If you had chickens, you could give it to the chickens. I don't, so I have to put it in my compost, which means sometimes I also get volunteer pumpkins. So these two, well, the one I have in the oven and this one, these bigger size pumpkins are called Cherokee, I believe. But the littler pumpkins that I grow all come from seed, which I have no idea what kind of pumpkin they are, because what happened was one year I went and got some pumpkins from the local farmer's market, and I just left them in my flower bed to rot after we were done looking at them, I guess, and I cut one, and other ones I just left as they were to rot. And come spring, lo and behold, growing out of my pumpkins with my daffodils, tulips. I can't get tulips to grow here. The voles eat it. But the daffodils loved it. They grew right out of the pumpkin. It was pretty funny to look at. And then when they were done, pumpkins started to grow. So I saved the seeds from those pumpkins because they seem to be pretty hardy, and I grew them again this year. So those pumpkins, from the original, and then last year's pumpkins, and then this is the third year. So I only had to grow pumpkins 1 year. I only had to pay for pumpkins 1 year, sorry, and I've grown pumpkins the next 2 years. So save me a bit of money there. So all I'm gonna do is, I've got all the guts out and the seeds. I'm gonna cut these into smaller portions, put them on a tray, put them in the oven at 400 for about 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, I'll take a look at it. If they don't seem dried out enough, you'll see like a little brown around the edge, and you'll know that they're done. And then just let it cool till you can touch it, peel off the skin, pop it into your blender and puree, and there it is. Measure out what you need for your recipes. Okay, so you can see how they've got kind of a little brown on the top, so you know that they are ready. I'm just gonna put them out on my cooling rack here to cool a bit so that I can put my next pumpkin pieces on these trays and pop those in the oven. These are just gonna sit here and cool till I can touch them. While that's going on, I'm going to work on the seeds, getting those cleaned up. These have cooled now to where I can touch them, so I'm going to peel the backs off, the skin, I should say, and put that into the compost. As I'm peeling, I'm cutting them into small chunks and putting them into my blender. Then I will put it on puree with a little bit of, maybe add a little bit of water. You're gonna want to check it and make sure you got the right consistency that you like. No lumps. And I did add a little more water in just because it sounded like it was struggling a little bit. So if you need to, you can always add more water to help it out. I'm just going to do the same process until I get them all done. First, let me get my seeds. Let's take a look. 2 more minutes. So I will continue the process until I have pureed all of the pumpkin pieces from both pumpkins. That was 1 medium-sized pumpkin, so that's 8 cups or 2 liters. That's enough to make 2 cups for pie, 1 for bread, so 4 pies, 8 bread, combination of the 2. Like I said, I'm going to make some bread, I'm going to make a pie for my son, I'm going to make some bread, and then the rest will go in the freezer for later. Muffins, pancakes, it goes on, cookies, it goes on and on, the uses of this wonderful ingredient right here. These are just going to go into a container, and I'm going to eat them. These may or may not be gone before my son gets home. So the second pumpkin also made 8 cups. So I ended up with a pie for my son, 2 bread, a couple muffins there, and also I made pumpkin pancakes, and the rest went into the freezer. This is a swarm of Japanese beetles. If anybody has any way they know to get rid of these that doesn't harm other animals and insects that are good, please let me know. Drop it in the comments. I sure wish these guys ate Japanese beetles because I have tons of toads and frogs in my yard. This is a great time of year for bird watching in my backyard. I love to sit in this spot and watch the birds eat from the feeders I've made. Those are old coffee cups. Or in my case, teacups, because I don't drink coffee.